Welcome to another edition of the Inspired Stories podcast, where leaders share their experiences so we can learn from their successes and be inspired by how they've overcome adversity. My name is Anthony Codispoti, and today's guest is John Grove, co-owner and executive at Mattress Grove. Based in Greensboro, North Carolina, they are a vibrant third-generation family-owned company that has crafted top-quality mattresses for over 5 decades. They partner with retail businesses to offer professional sales training, the highest quality mattresses, and superior customer service, all while prioritizing premium, locally sourced materials. Now, under John's guidance, Mattress Grove has earned praise for its handcrafted, art of support approach and its successful partnerships, including annual contributions to the Bed for Kids initiative. Now, John has been part of Mattress Grove for more than 32 years, and during that time, he pioneered business outreach and engaged in public discussions about the company's mission and the broader mattress industry. He brings a wealth of experience in running a family-owned business, and his passion for quality and community shines through in every endeavor. Now, before we get into all that good stuff, today's episode is brought to you by my company, Add Back Benefits Agency, where we offer very specific and unique employee benefits that are both great for your team and fiscally optimized for your bottom line. One recent client was able to add over $900 per employee per year in extra cash flow by implementing one of our innovative programs. Results vary for each company, and some organizations may not be eligible. To find out if your company qualifies, contact us today at addbackbenefits.com. All right, back to our guest today, the CEO of Mattress Grove, John Grove himself. I appreciate you making the time to share your story today.
Anthony, thank you so much. That was a more than gracious entry, and I really appreciate you having me on the Inspired Stories podcast. I'm super excited to have a conversation.
So, John, your family's been in the mattress business for more than 5 decades. And if I understand it correctly, like we said in the intro, you personally for over 30 years. I'm kind of curious, what was your earliest memory of mattress life?
Wow. I hadn't really thought about that in a while, Anthony. You say 50 years. My granddad actually started back in working for a mattress manufacturing company out of Atlanta, Georgia, over 100 years ago. So we've actually been, in the mattress business in some shape or form for over 100 years. But we've been manufacturing for over 50 years. So that's kind of why we say that we've been actually manufacturing. But some of my first memories were of coming to the factory on a Saturday while my dad was working with his brothers, because you know how us entrepreneurs are. We always have to be working, right? So, and of course, I didn't know anything better than to go back into the factory. And back then we had like tall stacks of really inexpensive mattresses, but in these plastic, and we would get on those stacks of mattresses and kind of like, ride them down to the bottom. So I can't imagine how, the poor people in the warehouse on Monday came in, from a nice weekend, and they had to clean up those mattresses. I didn't realize that it even mattered until I came, I grew up a little bit, and I started being that person coming in on Monday, having to straighten up all the mattresses. But that's what I remember best. That would probably have been back in the 70s. But with my cousins and so forth, just having fun. Nothing about the business, just being around.
Just being around it and mattress surfing on the weekends, huh?
Mattress surfing. Probably not a lot of people here that have done any mattress surfing, I guess.
I haven't. No, I might have to come down and visit. Is that still an option? Is that part of the tour these days?
Only for you. You. Yes. Yes.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. So you said that your grandfather had been in the business for starting over 100 years ago, and started the first family operation 50 years ago. How did that come about?
Yeah. So he was selling mattresses for Southern Spring Bed Company, which became Southern Cross. And anyway, he started working his way up into the Carolinas, and he was calling on these, these independent retail furniture stores. They didn't have mattress stores back then, but furniture stores. And he noticed that, they needed some other products and they weren't getting them quick enough. And so he started opening warehouses all throughout the Carolinas and Virginia. So he was already selling mattresses and furniture at the time. And then in the 70s, some of these manufacturers of the furniture started selling direct. So, and more into the 80s, but in the 70s. And so he had heard that Spring Air Mattress Corporation, they were out of Chicago at the time, was looking for a licensee in North Carolina. So make a long story really short, he purchased into that franchise. It was actually a license operation in 1971, and he brought along his two brothers, which was not my father. We were living in Florida at the time because my dad was actually a engineer working for NASA, which is a whole nother story. Yeah, family business is real you in, but which is a good thing. I mean, but my granddad and his two brothers, my uncles, started manufacturing mattresses in 1971. So it was a Spring Air franchise is what we got into. More of it's a licensee organization, not a franchise, which was a lot more flexible, but they actually bought into the brand.
Okay. And for you, was it sort of predetermined, predestined that you were going to, join the family business, or did you go off and do your own thing for a while and eventually you were kind of drawn into it as well?
Well, that's a great question. Most people would say, yeah, you probably were drawn into, or you were predestined. When I was brought up, I wasn't going to have anything to do with the mattress business. I mean, we'd seen dad, long nights, long days, mom, talking about how it's just, you don't want to go in that business. It's tough and you just don't want to do it. And so, yeah, I mean, my brother and I have one brother, who I co-own the business with. We said we don't want to have anything to do with the business. Let them do what they do. So we went, got our degrees and went and did our own thing for a while. And then as things changed and life changed and the family business needed some help, we came back at different times, but yeah, so it was not predetermined. It was predetermined we would not get into the family business.
You
but now
fought
I
it
wouldn't change it for anything.
and it sucked you back in.
It did.
And so when you first started in the company, I'm going to guess you probably started like kind of a little bit more entry level to kind of learn your way through the business. Is that right?
Yes. I actually, my brother and I and my cousins, we worked during the summers, in high school and junior high even, working in the factory, sweeping the floors, mowing the grass, outside, doing things that we could do because we weren't big enough to, load mattresses and trucks, and we certainly weren't big enough to, run machines. And they really didn't want to teach us to run machines because they knew we were only going to be here for a month or two, and it's an art to it. So we did all the odds and ends. So we kind of got that part of the business. But once out of college and I did my own thing, with sales. I came back into the business as a sales rep. So that was really my first taste into the real, business world, if you will.
And had you done sales before in previous jobs that you had? Okay, so were you comfortable in this
100%.
role?
Loved it. Yeah. And, I think, again, I think selling and sales is a bad word. But I think, helping people is the best thing in the world that anybody can do. If you have that passion inside yourself to want to help people, that's all selling is. Asking questions, to helping people find, what they need. I mean, I don't care what you're selling. You could sell anything and be in any kind of sales role as long as you have that passion and that heart to want to, really help people find out, ask the questions, what do they actually need? And, to me, so that's my favorite role. The favorite role I've ever had is being a sales rep.
And so is this like frontline sales, like direct to the end consumer, or is this selling wholesale to retail accounts that you were doing?
It's a unique position. It's selling wholesale. So we would be selling to a business owner or a potential manager if the company's big enough and they have a buying office. But our job as sales reps in the mattress business, how we're set up as a manufacturer is you really have to make you got to make two sales, and then there has to be a third sale made before it gets to the consumer. So first, you got to sell either the business owner, the entrepreneur of the furniture store, Andy's Fine Furniture. I got to sell Andy first, and then you put the mattresses on the floor. Say we get 6 models on the floor, great lineup. We talk to you about the story, and then now I need to come in as a sales rep, and now I need to sell your salespeople. So now, and all along, I'm hoping Andy's also, and you, I mean, Anthony's doing that too, which you are because you want to sell those mattresses too. So we have a big meeting, and we have to convince the salespeople and tell them the story. And then when they get it, guess what? They have to go parrot the story and tell the story why their consumer, the end user, wants to buy a Mattress Grove product. Or back then, it could have been a Spring Air product, and we still make Spring Air as well, but. Yeah, so it's actually a very unique story. So it's a unique sales position because you have to make multiple sales before it even gets to the consumer.
That's interesting. Got to sell the owner. If you don't do that, like doors closed, there's no other conversations to have. Okay, great. The door is opened on the account, but now we need sell-through, right? And to get sell-through, you need buy-in from the people who are, working frontline with the customers there in the furniture store. And so how is it that let's go to the first step. How is it that you get the owner excited? Like, why do they want to bring you in at all?
Yeah, sure. And a great question. First off, obviously, before you can talk to anybody, you got to build some rapport. So, you build a rapport with the owner. And so you may make 2 or 3 or 4 calls just, finding out more about the business, right? There's no way I can help you at Anthony's Fine Furniture until I find out what your needs are. And you're not going to tell me. Most likely, most owners aren't just going to say, "Well, this is what I need." Da, 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 da. And truth be known, most owners don't even know really what they need until you help ask the questions and expose it and say, "Well, what about this?" So,
So, what are some questions that you might ask?
Sure. You might ask, hey, what's working well for you on your floor? Oh, well, this one's selling. I notice you have 30 models on your floor. What's working well for you? What's not working so well for you? And this would probably be a second or third call. It would not be the initial call unless you just felt the rapport was there. Because again, most owners aren't going to just tell you, not knowing who you are. On a first call.
Okay. And so what are give me an example of some answers that you might get from an owner that can then sort of guide how you might approach the conversation going forward?
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And another question you might ask is, what's your percentage of mattress sales to your furniture store sales or whatever? Just trying to figure out if they're falling in the normal range or they're falling, or they're doing a great job in their mattress category, or they're doing a poor job.
What's a typical ratio there? What's a good percentage?
A good percentage is 15 to 20%.
Okay.
A poor ratio obviously would be less than 10 and less than 5. And surprisingly enough, there's some large furniture stores out there that do a great job with furniture. They're usually more of a designer type store that they may sell millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in furniture and just sell 5% mattresses. It's very interesting, and that's mainly because of the design consultants, the salespeople on the floor. They call them design consultants. They're more into designing the furniture and getting that part of the home, and then by the time they get the mattresses, it's just kind of an afterthought. Just get that at home. What?
No, bundle it in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you find out what's working well, what's not working well, and then how do you guide the conversation from there?
Right. Sure. So, what we do is we bring, new ideas and new, the best values at the price point where we see that they may be weak at. And so, like, for example, maybe there's a price points in the, $1,500 up to $2,000 in a queen size set or whatever. And then so we will tailor our story around those particular price points. One thing that I think is really key, and our sales team does as well, is that we talk about our product and our value. We have a lot of people that try to copy us and I guess more or less copy and lower the value. So, for example, like a mattress that you see behind me, maybe that's a 1999 queen size set of mattress in the background. And then somebody else, another manufacturer, would come in and say, "Well, I can get that similar mattress for you. It can't say Artisan on it. It can't say Mattress Grove, but I can get you." John's, fine mattress or whatever, and sell it to you for $14.99. That's one thing we don't do. We don't take other brands and say, "Hey, these are knockoffs." I think it's really important to do that. Anything. Be authentic. Do what you do best. And so, for example, the owner may say, that they may talk about those price points being key price points that he's not real strong at, and so we would take our line and figure out, our story that works within his and complements and supplements his other products on the floor. For example, if he has another big brand, like a Sealy or something like that, we would complement and supplement that. We don't want, if he's selling good with Sealy, we don't want to steal that business. We want to get him additional business for a brand that maybe, like our brand is not as well known, but our manufacturing and our products, you can just tell the difference because they're all handmade, they're handcrafted. So they're made better. The components inside are better. We don't have the national advertising that Steely and other brands put into the mattress. It has to be put in the mattress. You can't just advertise it and just say, well, it just came out of the sky. Nobody's given Steely.
When you say put into the mattress, you mean put into the price of the mattress.
The price of the mattress, right. Yeah.
You're paying for a lot of their expensive marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. So and again, it's just part of our story and what we do, and that enables us to put a nicer, higher quality product in the consumer's hands.
So tell us, I want to hear more about how you guys train the sales staff, because it sounds like this is probably a big point of differentiation. But as I'm looking at the product and we're talking about it, help me understand what it is that separates you guys from a Sealy or another brand out there.
It is definitely the people, and when I say people, all the way through our family, we call it Mattress Grove family, from the artisans in our factory all the way through to our sales team. And then of course, our people in our office. Everybody here has a sense of caring. And a lot of that has to do with my brother and I, but a lot of it also has to do with in basically each area of our company, there is someone that was hired by Gen 1 from, my granddad, back in my granddad's day. We have people in the factory been there 40 years. And what that means is it's just the consistency of our brand. We keep that consistency. We also have people that are just hired, but they learn our culture and the consistency and the attention to detail and the caring. We could talk later about it, but I would do anything for anybody in our company, and they would too. And we have some, I have some backup to prove that. But that's number one. I mean, because you have to start with that. And so when people care about what they do, they're going to make better products. And what's interesting in the mattress business is if you come into our mattress factory, which you're welcome anytime, Anthony, you can come to Greensboro, and we'd love to take you on a tour. And we'll even let you do some mattress surfing. Maybe we'll just put you on a conveyor on a mattress. You won't have to write it down. So,
I don't want to make too big of a mess.
No, HR would get mad. So, but what I was going to say is, mattresses are not made one at a time. We run, a lot of different the borders of the mattress, or the top panels of the mattress, or the foam encasement of the mattress, opening the coils of the mattress. There's a lot of moving parts, but it's all hand done here at Mattress Grove. And so a person that just makes the borders, which is the piece that goes around the mattress, which you see behind me that has Artisan on, that's the border. Well, a person makes that. They never see the end part of the mattress until they come into our showroom here, which we're all under one roof here. Our factory is right back, well, it's that way, but right back there. So everybody's back there making mattresses. This is our showroom for retailers only. We don't sell directly to the public per se in a showroom setting. But it's just interesting because they know what they have to do, and they have to make that border perfect. Same thing on all parts of the mattress, and so that's where it starts, because then your mattresses, when they go to the consumer or to the retail floor, they look different on the floor because they're straight. Everything's perfect. Everything is made correctly. You would be amazed at just having the top of the mattress, the quilted top panel on the mattress. If it was just off a half an inch, if it's off a half an inch or not cut correctly, it makes that mattress look bad because you've got the welting or the tape edge that goes down the side. And it matters. All of that matters. Again, if you're going to spend $2,000, $3,000 or what, heck, not $1,000 on a set of bedding, it needs to be made right.
Yeah. And so as a customer, somebody who's going to lay down on your mattress and, sleep there for 8 hours every night, what am I going to notice that's different?
You're going to notice the back support, number one, the support that you get from, making the mattress correct. Again, everything is pulled really tight instead of having it kind of loosey goosey. Now we have all different feels. We have, super plush all the way up to extra firm, but we pull it down tight, make all the components, work how they're supposed to. It's going to feel like a really deep feeling supportive mattress. You could still get the top of it if you want it really conforming, because that's what I like. I like it to have really conforming on top, but you got to have the good back support to keep your spine aligned, at night, so you don't wake up with a tired back. That's why you wake up with a tired back, because you're not getting the right proper support.
So what am I looking at right behind your shoulder here? Is that some kind of a pillow top is it foam or is it spring, or what's the technology?
Yeah, so that's our Artisan collection, and it is a spring unit. It's a pocketed coil spring unit. It's actually the heaviest gauge coil system that Leggett and Platt makes, and they make all of our springs. Matter of fact, all of our components are made right here in the USA. Most of them are made right here in North Carolina. We're really proud of that because we're tariff-free, Anthony. We don't have to worry about price increases, so we don't really care what Washington does.
You don't. What raw materials do you guys have coming, or or all your sourcing is done there locally?
Yeah, everything's local, and we you pay a little bit more money for that, but it is so worth it. We during 2020, when the pandemic was rampant, and all the factories were having problems getting raw materials. All the ships coming in instead of costing $3,000, now they cost $20,000. It was unbelievable, and they couldn't get raw materials. Guess what? We operated every day. Matter of fact, we operated till 12 o'clock. Often nights, and that's a whole nother story. But we take care of our customers, and our customers take care of their customers, and then that way, our customers don't care that we had to work till 12 o'clock at midnight. What they care is that we didn't work till 12 o'clock at midnight and they didn't get their mattress. So now their customers yelling at them, hey, Anthony, you told me that my Mattress Grove mattress was going to be here on Tuesday. Oh, well, the pandemic, we didn't have any of that problem. We
didn't pull that excuse out of your pocket ever.
We didn't pull it out of our pocket. But so that is a pillow top behind us. That mattress is the most, manufactured mattress out of our factory, the single most manufactured mattress out of our factory that we make. We make more of those than anything else, is a better way to put it. And we manufacture 57 different mattresses. And then you got to multiply that times twin, full, queen, king, California king. So that's how many different feels and collections we make. Isn't that crazy?
Are they all what did you call it? Spring coil tech?
Yeah, no, we make some foam mattresses too.
Okay.
We currently do not. One thing we don't do, because we just don't believe that it's the best quality mattress. We only flat ship, so we don't put mattresses in a box. Our mattresses you can't put in a box. If you took that mattress behind me and rolled it up and put it in a box, if you could do it. If you had a machine to do it, which there are no machines that would do it, it would blow the box up. Boom. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, and that's because it's made so well. I'm not trying to say, well, yeah, I don't believe that a bed in a box. I believe a bed in a box should be used for camping.
Okay. All right. You don't think that somebody can get the necessary back support from a bed in a box? They need either a higher density foam like you guys are using in your foam mattresses, or they need this spring coil tech. Is that what I'm hearing?
You need really both, and again, it's a different manufacturing technique. If you're gonna you fold it over and then roll it up into a box and put it in a UPSable box, um, you know there's no way that that mattress can be that supportive and for a long time. What a lot of people find is that they get the mattress delivered to their front door. They take it in, they open it up. Oh, it's cool, and it hopefully it opens up. If it doesn't, then they call and they send them another one. But what happens is they find that the longevity of the mattress just doesn't last. So what I like to tell people is you can buy a bed in a box and go do it if that's what you want to do, but just know that's probably going to be the most expensive mattress you ever buy
Yeah,
because you're going to buy another one in a
because
couple
you're
of
going to
years.
have to keep replacing it.
Yeah.
And so that Artisan one that I see behind your shoulder, how long would I expect that to last, assuming I'm sleeping on it every night with my wife?
That's probably the most one of the most often questions asked. That mattress will be around for way too long, longer than we want it to be, and be very comfortable. So the mattress is going to give you good support for probably it's got a 20-year warranty, but it's going to give you good support at least that long and probably longer. You pass it down to your kids and whatever. But what changes more than anything is our body. Think about how our bodies change. Our bodies change every, I mean, some people, depending on how you eat and you exercise, it changes every couple of years. But we like to say like about every 8 to 10 years, we need to really look at the mattress we're sleeping on because we've changed. Whatever, we could have lost weight. It's just the age changes our body, how we sleep, and we may even change how we sleep. So we recommend everybody start to look at their mattress at 8 years and 10 years. That the mattress is going to last. It's just the change in your body, your back changes, everything changes. It's a good idea to start to look. I mean, what else do you buy that you keep any longer than 8 years and expect it to last? People do. I mean, there's a few people to buy cars and they drive them for over 8 years, but if you go, I can promise you, if you go drive a new car after 8 years, you're gonna go, it's
This is
yeah,
pretty
lots changed.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, and the same thing with the mattress, but people just neglect it because it's back in the bedroom, it's covered up,
Do
it's
we need to flip our
neglected.
mattresses?
The one behind us, you cannot flip. It's a
Because it's
single
got
sided
that
mattress.
mattress
We
top. Yeah.
Yep. Now we recommend rotating that one, just because again, if my wife or is a different body type, and so it'll change how the mattress breaks in. The one behind us actually is pretty unique, also because it's hand tufted, which means that it has tufts from the top all the way to the bottom of the mattress, pulling everything down. So it pulls it down across the whole surface. So that mattress, it's still a good idea to rotate it, but you're not going to get like any of the impressions on that type of mattress than you will one that's not tufted. So anyway, that's just and there's some information on our website about tufting and hand tufting. It's an expensive piece of manufacturing, but I think it's one of the most important things that you should look for in a mattress. The problem is it's very expensive. It's hard to find, under $3,000 in a queen size. But
And
that mattress
so,
actually has them in it for less than that.
how far do you guys ship there from Greensboro, North Carolina?
Yeah, we ship. Currently, we ship kind of southeast right now. But we're working on some other options. And we're happy to talk to anybody. If you go to mattressgrove.com and you're on our site for more than about 15 or 20 seconds, there a pop up will come up and it'll say call John and David, which is me and my brother, and it has a phone number on there, and that phone number actually rings right to our personal cell phone. So one of us will answer, and we're happy to have that conversation. If somebody's in California, I'm happy to try to help them find a mattress. If it can't be ours, that's fine. But a lot of times we can also help maybe get them one of our mattresses. We have some retailers that'll ship to other areas as well. So we do business in Korea. I mean, but that's that's part of our international program. Mattress Grove is pretty well known in South Korea because it's a brand that
Why?
they've just there's retailers there that have just really kind of built that brand over the last 5 years or so. So we partnered with them quite a time back. Quite I guess yeah, it's probably been 5 or 6 years now. It was before 2020. So they do a great job with Mattress Grove. That's kind of wild, right?
That is kind of wild. Yeah, you guys are
Yeah,
exporting there to Asia. So
we
I'm
do.
I'm curious to get back to the training that you guys provide to the frontline salespeople, design consultants, whatever their titles are. Because in a wholesale business like you guys have, like it's one thing to sort of win the account, but then you want that turnover. And to get that turnover, you've really got to educate and get the frontline people excited about the product. So what does that process look like from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. All of our sales team are Dale Carnegie educated, so they have that relationship building piece of that. We've all been to the classes and so forth, and so that helps get the relationship piece. But then we get into and different salespeople are different in how they get into this, but we get into the mindset. I mean, Anthony, I believe, and our sales team believes this, that we're so grateful that we get today, and so we want to let the salespeople know the same thing. And I know this is going a little bit off topic, but this is important because we're not guaranteed another day. I mean, every day I wake up, I'm like I get so excited. I'm like, I want to pinch myself, make sure that I'm actually here because we're not guaranteed. There's as you get older, you get older like me, you start seeing some friends pass and along the way and of whatever, and you start really being grateful to be able to be here to talk to you and share ideas and hopefully talk to other people. So that's number one is trying to get people to realize they're in a furniture store. They might not be they look at outside sales reps. Oh, you're so lucky you got this great job. I've got to sit in the store. Well, you get to sit in the store. You don't have to. You get to it. What a great opportunity! You get to you get a captive audience. They're coming into your store. They have a need. They have a need, and so that's kind of number one to get them understanding where we're coming from. So then we're able to get into the more. We try to stay away from the spec. The specs are all on the beds at the end of the mattress. You can flip up a card and a beautiful specs and shows the different layers of the mattress. But that is not what's going to get you a good night's sleep. It doesn't matter if it has 2 inches of memory foam or has 4 inches of Talley latex or has this or that. If you don't like the way the mattress feels, so what we train is let's take the consumer to 3 mattresses that we know exactly how they feel, and we lay them on these mattresses. Now, look, do you like this one or do you like that one? Okay, well, boom, I like this one. Okay, well, that one's a little bit more plush. Did you think that? Okay, perfect. It's more. So we're going to kind of eliminate 50% of the mattresses on the floor because you don't really like that real firm feel. Okay, perfect. So then we lay them on this plush and maybe another plush. Maybe it's a little higher price. So we teach them to go down, to do that. And then when the consumer says, why is this mattress? The last mattress I bought was 15 years ago and I paid $500 for it. Why is this mattress, $2,000? I'm not spending $2,000. And then that's when we teach them to talk about the quality of the components and go into that. And then maybe at that point you're like, you explain, now what you're feeling in this mattress that's cradling your body, and you can feel it cradling. You said you could feel it cradling under, your hips and the small of your back. Well, there's some NASA memory foam in there. And that's what you're feeling there. And so we teach them the sales process, teach them kind of mindset first, hey, be grateful and I'll go back a little bit because we teach them to ask questions, right? Number one, we ask the questions, what, sometimes I leave that out, but number one thing I'm going to ask if I'm on the retail sales floor, we're going to ask, what is wrong with your current mattress. You know, if they come in on a mattress, everybody should be talked to about a mattress because most people don't even know how bad their mattress is. It kind of goes back to a car. If you come pick me up in your new Expedition or whatever you have, Anthony, and you say, "Hey, John, I want you to drive it," and I've got an old Ford Explorer or an old Expedition or whatever, I'm gonna go, "Wow, this is really cool." I didn't know. Had no idea how this was, how different it is. So a lot of people that come into the stores don't even know that how bad their mattress is until you get them laying on it. But so you ask them, "What's wrong with your current mattress?" "Oh, it's sagging bad." So we teach the salesperson to take that and say, "Okay, perfect. We're gonna ask them a couple other questions. Do you like a firmer or plush?" So it's just a process that we teach them to do so that they get the information, and we teach them not to jump on a June bug. Don't answer that question. Say, "Oh, I got the mattress. It's perfect for you right here. It doesn't sag." Use that in your presentation when you start and when it's time to present. When you find out the information and you start to get to a product that they say they like. Well, by the way, Anthony, this mattress is not going to sag because it has extra coils in the center. It's got extra support in the center. So it's going to hold your body weight up forever. It's not going to sag. So those are just things like that. And it takes lots of those sales meetings, Anthony. You can't go in and do one sales meeting and go, "Oh, I got it. I'll never see these people again." You got to go and do another one. And there's a reason why. I mean, if mattresses are 15% of their overall sales, guess what? They got 85% over here that's paying their bills, right? So there's a lot of things that go on in there. That's why our team goes into all their stores and their prospects, at least every 3 weeks, if not every 2 weeks, which is
Oh,
unheard
wow.
of.
I was
Unheard
going
of
to
in our
ask, is
business.
anybody else doing
Yeah,
this?
not like we do. Not like we do. Most people may go in every 2 months. The bigger brands may go in once a quarter or maybe once maybe twice a year. They expect that their marketing and their marketing dollars is going to get enough of their sales. They don't have to go in and train. And what happens is the salespeople don't feel comfortable showing the product because somebody comes in and looks at the product and they go, "Well, tell me a little bit about it." And they're like, "Well, hold on, let me look under here. It
Mm.
says it's got this much foam, 2 inches of this, 2 inches of that, 2 inches of that." I mean,
So John, are most of the mattresses that you're making, do they have the Mattress Grove name on them? Are you doing like other brands or private labels?
we do. We make Spring Air, which also we do make private labels. We make private label for different retailers. We also make Chatham and Wells. But Spring Air is what we when we came in 1971 was our brand. I mean, we bought into the brand, and then in the late 2000, 2008, that 2007, there was a roll up, and private equity came in, killed the brand, killed everything. We didn't sell our business because we had we love the business. I mean, we love helping people. We love helping people with their health and wellness. Which is what a mattress is, a good mattress. And we really focused on the Spring Air. But as during that roll up, we were forced to sell our share in Spring Air. So now a different entity owns it. So it's just different now. Spring Air is a great brand. I mean, it's a fantastic brand. And we're the oldest licensee in the world. We've been making Spring Air longer than anybody else in the world. The Spring Air back supporter is what that is. But the Chatham and Wells is an ultra luxury brand. Goes up to about $10,000 in a queen size.
What goes into a $10,000 mattress that's different than say like a $2,000 or $3,000
Let's see.
mattress?
Gold, it's got all,
Yeah.
no. Yeah,
There's a
it's
toilet like on the side of it and a
exactly.
little like a maid service as well that's
Made
built
serve.
in.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes itself. It makes its own. Yeah, it makes itself.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of things. Like it's got natural, like horsetail hair is a insulator pad, which is just lasts forever. It's just the top of the line. It's got three different coil systems in it. Of course, it's super thick. Things like that. Just it's like buying a Gucci handbag or something. It's just the attention to detail. It's got a solid nickel plated emblem on the end. The handles on the side for moving the mattress around are all embroidered, and they're made with upholstery grade materials. Just really high end. And if you go look at it, I mean, and lay on it, it feels great. But not everybody wants to spend $10,000 on a mattress, and that's actually cheap compared to a lot of people are out spending $50,000 or more for mattresses these days. It's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about what the art of support means. I see the tagline there over your shoulder.
Yeah, we it's kind of a play, I guess, on words. I mean, back supporter is spring air. That's a spring air thing. But what we believe, our mattresses are supportive. I mean, that's the art of support. What most people say, well, yeah, you're in the mattress business is support, but it's actually a lot more deeper than that. Everybody here at Mattress Grove, we support each other. And I'll go back to just to tell the story. I'll go back to back in 2020 when we had all this crazy business because a lot of other manufacturers couldn't ship. Plus, we lost some people in the factory. They didn't want to come to work because of COVID and all this other stuff. So we just all chimed in. I mean, my brother and I, we used to load trucks and back in high school, and we still load trucks. We still go out there for a workout. But we loaded a lot of trucks with our people, during those months, and us as leaders, we had to sit in front of our people in May and June and go, look, guys, I know we're all working overtime now, but this is gonna be short. And we're gonna be fine. Give us another 30 days. And we did the same meeting in August, the same meeting in September. But everybody, our core group and everybody, they just always supported us. And we supported them. Like I said, we during the hottest months of the year, we'd take off our button down shirts and we put on our t-shirts and our shorts, and we'd be out there just sweating to death, which is great. It was fantastic. We're servant leaders. That's what we do. But we all support. I mean, if something happens and we lose a key person, David or I or somebody else in the factory will jump in and take care of that position until we can get somebody to fill it. Everybody in the factory is cross-trained, and again, they want to be because they want to be able to help the cause. So that's really the Mattress Grove piece, and then the other piece is our service to our customers. There's nobody that service our customers like we do. If you call our number, or not me or David, if you call me or David and I are going to answer. But if you call our office line, there's not an answer service. We have somebody here, Angela, Wanda, it could be Meredith. If it rings long enough, it'll come to my office. But we don't want an answer service. We don't want an answer service that they press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, 3 for Korean, or any of that. We want to answer it. If it's a call that we don't want to talk to them, I can get you off the phone. Hey, I'm not interested, whatever. So we don't care about that. I want to talk to customers. I want to talk to people. So that's our support. Going back to Angela, she handles all of our incoming orders, and then she also schedules it to the factory, and then she handles the trucks going out. So she has a lot of conversations with our customers. We ship faster than anybody else. We ship on 53-foot trailers to our customers, but which are the retailers. But our support goes all the way through. And then I talked about our sales team. They're always there. We answer the call. If we're awake, what we say is, if you're working, we're working. So call us.
I like that. Talk to me about beds for kids. What is this? Why is it important to you guys?
That'll make me smile and cry at the same time. Beds for Kids is a fantastic organization based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. They've been around a long time. We partnered with them about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe. Yeah, heck, time flies when you're getting a little bit older. But we heard about them, and they've invited us down to their facility, their old facility, which is a lot smaller. Was smaller then than it is now, but they're just an amazing organization that helps get kids off the floor, more or less. Now they've grown now to where they not only just supply mattresses, but they also supply furniture. So they have a lot of donors down in Charlotte that not only give money, and if anybody wants to give money, you can go to their website and give to a great cause. But they also have furniture companies that either have closeouts or something that they donate. But anyway, we went down there, my brother and I, and we actually went on as a volunteer, because a lot of people go volunteer to help, unload mattresses and furniture into these people's homes. But they do a great job of vetting people that sign up, to make sure that the mom and the dad or whatever are actually trying to work, or they're working. They're not just, addicts or whatever. But we went down there and we got to serve a family, and it was really, really amazing. It's amazing when you go into somebody's home and they really don't have anything but like maybe one lamp, and doesn't have, it just has a light bulb and it doesn't have a light shade. And the poor, the kids are going to school, but they don't have a desk to, study by. They're by that one light on the floor. So, it's a really, really great cause. And, we've partnered with them, probably shipped over 10,000 mattresses now.
Wow.
Just really, yeah, helping a lot of people. Just so far, this year we've shipped them over 300 already. So it's just it's a great cause. And then, at the end, after after they set up the furniture and everything, we all got together and prayed for the family, and prayed that, that we're grateful enough that God gave us this opportunity. So it's really a great cause. And we want to continue to support them. They're just really, it's a great organization.
And they're serving families mostly in the Charlotte area then?
Pretty much. Yeah. The Charlotte Mecklenburg, I believe it's 11 counties around the area.
Okay.
And it's just, they just continue to grow. It continues to grow. And, their leadership team is just amazing. They're just really amazing.
We'll see if we can find a link to their website, include it in the show notes for folks if they're interested in checking
Awesome.
that out, becoming
Yeah.
involved, making donations. It sounds like a tremendous cause. Um, John, what's a serious challenge that you've gone through in your life, whether it's something personal or professional? How'd you get through it? What did you learn?
Oh gosh. Which one do I want to talk about? Yeah. Uh, I went through a pretty tough divorce, about 15 years ago or whatever. And, that was tough. Yeah, I have two beautiful kids, and now I have three kids, but two kids at the time. And, it was a tough situation, but, and I don't have the same mindset. I didn't have the same mindset then that I do now. I wish I did, but you can't change the past, so I don't worry about that. But that being said, our business, our family business was just a great place for me to focus. And I was the sales manager at the time, so we opened some pretty serious accounts during that time, some really good business accounts, and a lot of it just had to do, with my focus. I was able to really focus on to keep my mind straight, focus on the business part of my life, because the other part was kind of was shady. But I did keep a positive mindset, but yeah, things like that, they kind of shape you, and we get to decide whether we want to be woe is me, or we want to be, a victim. And thank goodness I didn't, because I could have been like, man, I'm just, this is a bad situation. But I think a lot of people can relate to going through that. And, it's never easy, Anthony. It's never easy. And I don't recommend it by any means, but, sometimes it just happens.
You mentioned that your mindset is different now than it was at that time. How so? And what sort of triggered that change?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I am so grateful for each day, almost in every minute. I hate to say it, it seems crazy, but, personally, I know how valuable life is, and I know how valuable, people are. And my goal every day is just to see people smile. I mean, really is, if I, and we all should be that way. I don't know, I don't understand why we wouldn't be that way, but I wasn't always that way. I was maybe a little bit more judgmental, and so forth, and it's natural to be that way. And I still find myself doing that, but I have to, the sooner I realize that it's happening to me and my mind's going there, I stop it. As soon as I stop it, it helps me get a better wave of positivity and so forth. So, like I said, I always had the can do attitude, not always, but in that time I had the can do attitude. But it was, it wasn't like it is today to where I just want to help people. I just really want to, be able to, make somebody's day better. It doesn't matter whether I'm at Wendy's, which I don't go to Wendy's much, but or wherever I am. I checking out at Harris Teeter or Food Line or wherever I am. I'm I want to make that person, I want to attempt to. I'm going to be nice and I want to ask about the day, and if they want to talk longer, then we'll talk about other things. But, I want to see a smile. And there's a very few people that actually won't give you that smile because that smile is coming back to me as a smile. I mean, that makes me smile. So, whatever you give out, the energy you give out, and I believe wholeheartedly in energy. And I think that's how Anthony reached out to me was because of its energy. Because energy is here always. And energy is not like, it's not something that is only between me and my brother over here down the hall. Energy, it goes to Korea, and energy goes everywhere. And whatever energy you're giving off and you're thinking about, it goes to other people. I promise you. And we all have had those situations where we're thinking about somebody and they call us and we go, "Oh, that was just coincidental." I don't believe that because it happens too much to me. And almost every day something like that happens to me. And maybe I'm just special. I'm not. Everybody has this energy. And so, the energy that we give off is it can be positive or negative. And, so we actually get to make that decision, every day we wake up. And, I tell the story. It's not my story, but the way I wake up every day is the same as if I would have won, somebody would have given me $10 million. Because if I ask you, Anthony, how you would feel if I said, "Anthony, you know what? I appreciate you interviewing me on this podcast. You know what? I've got an extra $10 million I'm going to give to you. I'm going to give you $10 million just because I like you." How does that make you feel?
A combination of amazing and confused. And also wondering if this is verbally binding. Like, is it?
It's just being recorded, right? Oh no. So, okay. And so if I said, "Okay, great. Well, I can only give that $10 million to you if you agree that you don't wake up tomorrow. You don't get another day."
I'm going to say no. No, thank you.
I'm going to say no. So every day we get another day is worth more than $10 million to us because that's how and so that's the mindset that I look at. And is that's why every day is so important, whether I make $10 million, which I've never made $10 million, but if I make, $1 or I make somebody smile, that's how I look at every day. And I think, everybody can look at that. It just takes some practice. It doesn't happen overnight.
I was going to ask, how do you teach someone else or train yourself in this kind of mindset? It's just repetitions every day. Maybe that mental exercise of, would I take $10 million today if it means, not waking up tomorrow? Like is that sort of like a helpful exercise to go through, you think?
It is. I think it is. I think the first thing that everybody should do when they get up in the morning is smile. Put your feet on the floor and just smile. If you want to go look in the mirror, that's even better. But get up, smile, and be grateful for one thing, whatever. It could be for today. It could be for, whatever. It could be that you get to eat breakfast today, or you're going to drink coffee today, or whatever. But be grateful and be mindful of it. And then you can go into more deeper, thoughts. But the interesting thing about sleep, just really quick, is that, and I'm just learning some of these things, but REM sleep is so important, and we've heard that, and I'm not going to get into all the details of it, of how the chemistry of the brain works, but I will tell you this, that what we think about today and what we focus on today will be replayed in our brain in a hallucinogenic state, because REM sleep is, when you get an REM sleep, that's where dreams are. And if you think about your dreams, they're usually some type of a hallucinogenic situation, because you're either falling off of buildings or you're seeing something crazy, something that can't really happen usually, right? You're running from a monster, and thank goodness it doesn't catch you. But when you're in that REM sleep, your brain is recounting and remembering really, really fast, because you only get a little bit of REM sleep the day that you had. So when you think about really positive things, guess what happens? It goes into your REM sleep, your REM sleep, and it goes in fast. So that's where your subconscious is. And so when you wake up the next day, you're going to get more of that. So if you're living into a very negative situation and you're living that negative situation, and guess what? It goes the same way. It's in your REM sleep. And that's why dreams are kind of weird. They don't make sense. I think one day, it may not be in our lifetime, but one day they're going to be able to figure out why dreams are what they are. And dreams are intentionally, by our brain, by God, however you want to think about it, they're intentionally forgotten because of how our brain recycles that information. It's still in there. It goes through a cleansing so that you don't remember it, so you can move forward and kind of have a new day. But it's really interesting how that works. Do research on it if you want to. It's crazy.
Lots of fascinating learnings to be had around the understandings of sleep and the benefits that it has on the brain, for sure. John, I've just got one more question for you, but before I ask it, I want to do two things. First of all, I'm going to invite all of our listeners here to hit the follow button on their favorite podcast app so you can continue to get more great interviews like we've had today with John Grove, the CEO of Mattress Grove. John, I also want to let people know the best way to get in touch with you. Obviously, there's your website, mattressgrove.com. Any other ways that you recommend folks to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. And that's a great way. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. We're really, really active on Instagram and Facebook under Mattress Grove. We've really done a lot with that. But yeah, Mattress Grove on any of the social medias, we're always putting out content. We're in the mattress business, but we're really in the health and wellness business.
I like that. So last question for you, John. As you look to the future, call it the next 2 to 3 years, what are the changes that are coming to your business and your industry that you're most excited about?
Probably the technology to learn more about our sleep and how what we can do to better sleep. I mean, we all know that we need to be off of our devices, not drink alcohol, not smoke marijuana, not drink caffeine during certain after 2 or 3 o'clock. But we can dig deeper into that, and I think the technology is going to keep getting better. There's no question that there's a ton of research and a ton of conversation. If you go on TikTok and hashtag sleep maxing, I mean that's a big trending topic right now. And it's about how to get a better night's sleep. The mattress is a very important part, but there are a lot of other things that go together with it. If somebody calls me and says, "Hey, John, I need a magic mattress that's going to make me sleep better," I'm going to have to ask the question, I'm going to say, I can give you a great mattress. It's going to give you great support and it's going to last you a long time. But let's talk about some other things as well. So I think in the next few years, being able to bring some of those things to consumers through Mattress Grove even is very exciting to me, because I believe that people need to know. We need to. We're told and we know, but how much the more we know, there could be an apps that remind us. I wear a fitness ring or whatever, or it's a sleep ring, whatever, and it reminds me of certain things that I need to be doing. And so I think that's important, because there's nothing more important, Anthony, than sleep. There's a three-legged stool. You have exercise, you have food intake, and you have sleep. And out of all of them, just leave sleep out for a few days and see what happens.
Things unravel pretty quickly. I can speak to that from personal experiences. I'm sure most of our listeners can. Well, John, I want to be the first one to thank you for sharing both your time and your story with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anthony. It's been great. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of the Inspired Stories podcast. Thanks for learning with us today.